The information provided on the Forever Young Show by its host or sponsors is for educational and personal alternatives. Statements have not been established by the Food and Drug Administration. They are not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease.
Welcome to the Forever Young Radio Show. Over the past 2 decades, we have had the opportunity to serve and help so many listeners. We do that by bringing on respected educators in all fields of health and wellness. We pride ourselves on keeping consumers in the know about our ever-changing healthcare system and ways to support the body. Each week, with the help of our special guests and experts, we have one goal in mind, and that's to ensure every listener has the most up-to-date information on ways to support all aspects of health. Now, here's your host.
Hello, everyone. So glad you could join us today right here on Forever Young. If it's the first time you've come across our program, whether it be on Sirius XM, the traditional radio dial, or any of our wonderful podcast platforms, thank you for finding us and for showing up today. We've been here for well over 2 decades, and we show up each and every week with the hopes of informing and educating every listener on healthier lifestyle options and good quality science-based information. There's so many things going on in the world. There's so many new health trends. On this program, we encourage you to follow the science. If you'd like to learn more about us, it's great to do that at foreveryoungradio.com. There you can read articles from A to Z. You can listen to podcasts. I believe we have 468 podcast episodes for you to review. So make sure you check it out. Today, we have a very great topic for you. We're going to turn back the aging clock with aloe and greens. Really, really heavy lifting on this show, so I had to bring in the big gun. Today, I'm honored to be joined again by my health mentor, Karen Masterson-Cook. Karen helped me all those years ago. Goodness, what is it, 20 plus? I'll have to ask her. Get bitten by the health bug when I was struggling with my own health very early in my career and not really understanding what was going on with me. Karen is a clinical nutritionist, health educator, author, and the founder of Aloe Life. And Aloe Life has been a respected brand for more than 30 years. Again, we're going to talk about them today, but there's also a very big difference in aloe vera found in the marketplace. So we're going to share a little bit on how a consumer would maybe look and really find a great brand like the science-backed brand of Aloe Life. Karen, hello. Thank you so much for joining me. Great to have you on the show.
Hello, it's great to be with you, Kelly, and the listeners, and talking about health and aloe, one of my favorite topics, which I also have taken for years. I know you have too, just because I love being a healthy senior. And aloe is the #1 herbal superfood and supports healthier energy, friends, and youthful skin. All that you want when you're becoming a healthy senior. In fact, I just completed my yearly battery of tests from my doctor I was telling you about. And every one of them, Kelly, came back normal or non-detectable. Wow. I know. I was so excited. Honestly, friends, I did an emotional backflip. And I know. They keep trying to find something wrong with me. Last year, I had the RSV virus, and they showed a little scarring in my lungs. I felt some warmth. And ever since then, they're thinking there's something wrong. So, I mean, I was even tested for HIV because I worked in that. And I'm just so happy. No, thank you. I don't want drugs if I can avoid it. I choose to build my immune system on the inside of my body where it's needed, and exercise to stimulate my immune system. Plus, covering the basics I write about in many articles, even the one, I wonder if your gut hurts, that you have on your website at Forever Young.
Yeah, foreveryoungradio.com. You can go and check that out. And again, we also have a follow-up show. This is a part 2. Karen joined us a few months ago. Please go and find that episode. I think it's episode 440-ish. But again, we leave that on there, and we'll get you the right one by the end of the program. But again, I think it's so important when we're looking at this, Karen, and just trying to understand what we're coming up against. So many people have there's been an uptick in autoimmune, which we're going to talk about that today at some point, I'm sure, because we're hearing from more and more people. But I think if we're going to get how important it is to be preventative, especially when we want to have minimal disease in our life, we have to look at things like Aloe Life. We have to look at things like aloe vera.
So important, friends. We want you to know, don't wait till a crisis occurs, even though we have so many people that get on the Aloe Life when they're hurting. But if you make it a daily, I mean, aloe vera has over 100 different studies just for the immune system support alone. Wow. And then so many other things. As we're talking about gut health today, even I've been working in cancer for years, friends. And so definitely when I talk to Mount Hope at a cancer awareness convention in Arizona, I ask them, hey, what's new coming down the pike in therapies and protocols for cancer? Because I've worked in it for over 17 years. And what did she say? Prevention. Prevention. And any new therapies or protocols, prevention. So you get to do the preventative supplements that you know work for you. And the studies are wonderful. I mean, when you have a poll that says only 12% of Americans are actually metabolically healthy, you got a lot of company if you don't feel your best friends. So I hope you stay tuned and listen to some info we're giving you on the #1 herbal superfood, aloe vera.
Yeah. And I think some listeners are listening for the first time. They're like, you can drink it, you can ingest it. I think so often, like people think that it's only used for a burn or a bug bite or a wound. And again, I'm really excited about the show today because we're going to be able to share not only a lot of content, but a lot of great information on how just incorporating some of these things and taking that preventative approach is really going to make such a difference in your life. Now, we're going to go out to a break, but in the meantime, please go and visit our website. That's foreveryoungradio.com. You can read that wonderful article that Karen referenced. You can download the show of the previous program that really went into some really great information, especially about immunity, but we will cover that today. And then make sure you visit our friends at aloelife.com. Goodness, there's a blog on there. There's recipes on there. Always something for everybody. But stick with us when we come back from the break. More on your health with Karen Masterson Cook. Welcome back, listeners. Again, having a wonderful conversation with Karen Masterson Cook. She is the president and founder of Aloe Life, 30-year brand, very highly respected within our industry, all because it's based on science and education. And for those of you who are new to the program, you may not know that Karen and I hosted the show for many, many years together. And boy, we were able to help a lot of people back then. That was before the podcast days, and just really worked hard to keep those radio stations going to be able to give more blessings to people talking about things like prevention. Now, I'll tell you, Karen, we learned years ago that I couldn't have caffeine. Do you remember when I would have caffeine? Our entire staff, Lonnie, Kevin, they begged me to quit drinking coffee because it would just make me so intense and so uptight. But didn't you say that one time that anemia, like tired, blood, fatigue, mental decline, is the #1 nutritional deficiency? Tell me a little bit more about that, Karen.
Kelly, I'm so glad you brought that up because fatigue is tied to anemia, tired blood. And yeah, definitely food abuse is one of the most common, challenges we have going on. You're not getting the proteins and the greens that have folic acid and B12, which is so important for energy and mental health and so much more. And so what we want you to understand is don't panic, because it is also a symptoms of even cancer. Fatigue, it's like a litmus test of the body, friends. What we want you to understand is when you have good gut health, you're going to be absorbing the foods. Like you're going to start working on your diet, right? I hope after this, and make sure you're getting the protein and the greens. But if not, there's always the Daily Greens by Aloe Life. I love having that shortcut. But at the same time, aloe helps you absorb. The research has been really phenomenal on absorption with using a quality aloe, because we just hope and pray. You want to eat the Mediterranean diet, which has the whole variety, and then your body will start getting the building foods that it needs to build blood. But absorption, it's all about, the largest study showed that we needed hydrochloric acid in the stomach, Kelly. I know you know this. Yeah. So it's real important. I love aloe and E to ignite all the glands of the body. And that will help you start feeling better, more energy to exercise and to actually prepare foods and go to the store and shop or order food online. However it is, you got to get the fuel in the body and absorb it. And aloe has been researched for years now to show that it's an herbal bitter when it's not over-filtered. Like Aloe Life, it's got that yellow sap, the bitter, the polyphenols that actually turn on the hydrochloric acid. Tufts Medical University, largest human study with 77,000 doctors and nurses, showed what's missing is the food. What's missing is the digestive hydrochloric acid and too much toxicity. Yeah, too much pharmaceutical drugs being ingested or other toxicity from our environment. And that takes cleansing and detoxing. I mean, I had a woman with her children who she bought a bottle of the Aloe Life. And the kids, they were twins, started having regular bowel movement. She goes, well, I'm going to take it too. It's multitasking. It's a multitasking herb, friends. She not only had more regularity, but her heartburn went away. And this rash that she had battled cleared up. She couldn't understand it, that the liver and the digestive system's all linked, to skin. And then the one thing she made her call us, her energy came up. And that's the litmus test. You get the energy back because you're now not only getting the foods into the bloodstream, okay, you're absorbing them sometimes 300% better. And that's that bioavailability study that was done after I actually was sold hook, line, and sinker on a quality aloe concentrate. And so, friends, you too can feel the best you can feel just with a simple herbal addition to your health program. It's so much fun, isn't it, Kelly?
I like that we talk about fatigue. I like that we talk about those things because I think a lot of people are dismissed when they go to their traditional GP or their regular doctor. They're just like, hey, I'm tired all the time, or I'm not tired at night, but I'm tired all day. What's going on? What are your habits? It's about, you would also say, how come nobody, as far as doctors, ask about bowel movements? Why is it not being asked about? If you can't find a way to detoxify the system and to get rid of some of this stuff, that these toxic chemicals that we're coming up against in our food supply, in the air, in our water supply, and everything we do, even in some of the supplements that people use, really, what are you? I mean, you're not going to be able to be the healthiest you. So I like that you bring up absorption because it's not about what you take, it's about what you absorb. But I also remember you were sharing with me about your patients all those years ago when you were at the Livingston Clinic. Virginia Livingston, I think was her name, really, really big clinic that you worked at, how so many commented on their energy coming up after drinking the aloe concentrate. And I think that's what kind of like motivated you to really want to get into this. Was that just for the AIDS patients you were counseling, or was that for others too?
Kelly, it was so incredible because honestly, we had heard from a Texas researcher, an MD, that aloe could really help the immune system, but I wasn't convinced. I was not convinced, friends. We had such a mix. It wasn't just HIV AIDS patients, it was cancer. I had many people with irritable bowel syndrome, ulcerative colitis, just people who had to have part of their colon, actually surgically removed because of the scarring that takes place when you're stubborn and you keep eating all these inflammatory foods, friends.
Yeah.
It's silent to a certain point. But honestly, the most wonderful thing I saw it in their lab work. Parts of their blood, their hemoglobin was actually improving because, again, many of these people were in advanced disease. So the addition of the aloe concentrate made a huge difference. And at that point, I didn't know why or how it worked, but I saw it. And honestly, the most wonderful thing, that everyone was feeling better, quicker, faster. I mean, what I say now is 5 minutes to 45 days because it takes a month to build new lining cells in the GI tract. And really, there's another piece of research I think is important, a new one that came out of China. Yeah, I know, not always the best reference, but right on contact. There's so much immunity support that stimulates our polysaccharide phytonutrient in the aloe. There's over 25 of them, friends. I mean, it's packed full of actives, 100 of them. 75% nutritional, a lot of trace minerals, which are so important when you get into just reading a little bit about health, because they're like spark plugs, for the body to work better. But also the pancreas, which is real important for insulin production. They also found that the polysaccharides right on contact actually gobbled up the opportunistic condition of fungus that grows in the intestinal tract when we're hooked on sugar. Drinking alcohol, that's a lot of sugar, okay, or a lot of carbohydrates. So it's blocking the absorption, even if you're really making an effort, friends, to eat good. Right on contact, the aloe actually stimulated these Pac-Man that would gobble up the fungus cells, and boom, they started feeling better, more energy, because they could absorb the protein that we need. People undereat in protein too. You need a good 55 grams of protein, friends. We're not, insects. We need a lot, half our body weight in protein. But anyway, they started absorbing, and it was just wonderful to see every one of my patients. And I've learned to never guess, never assume that the body can't rebuild itself. Give it the opportunity, friends. Always have hope. Hope is a healer. Norman Cousins said it years ago. Hope is what continued him to excel and live almost 35 years past his prognosis, which was not good at the time. You can read about his story in Anatomy of an Illness. Norman Cousins. Never give up hope, friends. And nutrition is how the divine design was made. We weren't made to run on pharmaceutical drugs, so be extremely responsible when you choose one for temporary, but always nutritional deficiencies behind every ailment that we have, friends. And aloe is a really good place to start.
And I know that, earlier in my career with you, Karen, you taught me a lot about Candida albicans. Is that fungus you were talking about that's in that lower intestinal tract?
Yes, and it doesn't take much, friends. Sometimes I've seen it so thick. This one patient that called me, he says, I really don't feel good. And I said, well, stick out your tongue. What's it look like? He goes, well, it looks like I could grow potatoes on my tongue.
Oh, no.
Ooh.
Yeah,
But
not
sometimes
good.
it's not so heavy on the tongue, friends. It can just be down in the intestinal tract. The GI tract is the number one system of cancer. We have to take good care of it. Probiotics. I love fish oil. I love B complex, but I love aloe because it is so far reaching to help the cells renew. And that's all about the gibberellin actives, the growth factor that people don't talk about because they don't know. It's one of the very special phytonutrients that we don't overfilter it out in the Aloe Life. So you get all of these amazing natural herbal phytonutrients, 25 of them, including these growth factors. The cells regrew in record time in the wound study. We're the only company to have done a wound study. Why? We're driven to highlight this plant, Kelly. So yes, people felt better and better. It didn't matter what they were dealing with. I became a believer. I became an allomaniac because my patient showed me what it would do. And in my own life, I don't ever want to stop taking it. I feel so good.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think a lot of people who get on your products, especially the Aloe Life products, they are users for life. I mean, I have been a user for life. Look how many years, I'm like almost 20 years in that I've been using Aloe Life, and it's made a big difference in my life. And we got to run out to a break, but when we come back, we'll share more on that. Please go and check out the website. That's aloelife.com and stay with us. I know Karen gave us a little special discount for people to be able to try these products. So we'll share that with you in the next segment. Be right back. Welcome back, listeners. Again, so grateful that you join us each and every week right here on Forever Young. Having a wonderful conversation with Karen Masterson Cook, clinical nutritionist, and also founder and president of Aloe Life International, a great San Diego company that's been in business for 30 years. I can't really talk about a handful of companies that I know have been around for that long and continue to have the structure in the company. The number one thing when she found that benefit in aloe vera all those years ago to help her patients, she has adhered to that stringent and strict protocol. Now, Karen, when I met you, I wasn't the healthiest. I was young 20s. I was very ambitious. I wanted to take the world on by storm and be very successful. And how that would work is essentially I would not eat all day. And at 7:30, 8 o'clock at night, I'd order a pizza and I'd eat something a little bit different that maybe I shouldn't because I was working in the background of doing this. I wasn't a radio host yet. I wasn't being counseled by you at that point. And I'll tell you, not only did I deal with Candida, which was very, very hard because I was a kid who was chronically sick. I had very poor digestive function. I was chronically constipated. I mean, horrible things to deal with as a child. But once I was able to get rid of that Candida, and really I just did a twofer. I kind of did the orange papaya to start. Then I would do the ear drops in addition to it because I was having ear infections. And most people I don't think would allude to, Karen, if you're having Candida, which is happening in the bowel, that you can have that white-coated tongue. You can have yellow toenails. You can have, different types of allergies, not only skin infliction, but things going on between the nasal cavities. What can you kind of led to that, Karen?
Well, Kelly, you were one of the millions of people that have been undiagnosed with IBS and advanced bowel disease. And I know I have it too.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a family affair, but some children have more symptoms, but the symptoms can be silent. And I know that you had issues growing up from getting to know your bio. And
Yep.
your bio, by the way, is written up in my big book, Beyond
Yes.
Gluten Intolerance, along with other incredible people that I've worked with that now live healthy lives as you do. And just the Beyond Gluten Intolerance on page 637. It's just such a story of victory. But you have to know what you're dealing with, friends. And so, yes, the ear wash is phenomenal. And you had ongoing different ear problems because
Yep.
this fungus, this opportunistic fungus, Candida albicans, is a natural component to the small intestine being able to break down and ferment the foods in the butyric acid cycle. A little technical, friends,
Yep.
but it takes probiotics, it takes food fiber, not grain fiber. That's the problem. Get that out of your diet. We were wrong on whole grains. Okay, so you want to like go to potatoes, or even white rice is better than having the horrible whole grains from wheat and barley and any of them. Okay, so flax, and sugar and milk products. Okay, so you learned that you did have this background, this advanced condition we call ulcerative colitis, right,
Yep.
Kelly?
Yep. You
Yeah.
got it.
And unfortunately, you do have blood loss, but infection, I mean, kind of like diverticulitis is part of a symptom too, in the gut that breeds infection, inside the colon. And so kids die from this, and adults do too prematurely, friends. We like to keep it upbeat, but we want you to know that you want to take preventative action. Or I meet people every day that have advanced and conditions like we're talking about. And it's amazing because of this growth factor and the infection fighters that are in aloe, the saponins, along with immunity from the polysaccharides. I mean, it's just an herbal medicine chest. That's what the ancients talked about. And so, again, it's so great for you to tell the story because people need a hand up. They really need this information. And it might not be you don't think, but a family member or a friend. And so that's where you really want to share. They may be showing this. I mean, there's now, the research has exploded all over the world. There was 200 or 300 pieces of great research when I got into it 33 years ago, and it changed my life. But now it's almost 3,000 worldwide, friends, that show how important it helps when you have the yellow sap. That is our signature color, whether it be the topical for skin issues, which is really helpful, but skin on the inside, skin on the outside, that growth factor with these other ones we're highlighting today out of the 25 really help the body get back in pH balance. Yes. And then the skin starts resolving. Some people call it healing. But again, it works. But why other products don't have that same capacity is because they've watered them down. It's mostly water with a little bit of aloe, or there's no aloe in them at all. It's really shameful in the industry, friends. We're not trying to, throw any of them under the bus. But I was driven because I saw it at the beginning, and then Kelly lived it, and I did too. I mean, my mom had to have a resection. She's in the book, where her whole intestinal tract folded over on itself. I mean, everybody thinks they've got this beautiful 7. Oh no. So it gets twists and turns and breaks and sores in it. And that's the beautiful thing. Taking care of our gut will take care of the entire body. You get your energy back, you get your youthfulness back. And Kelly, I mean, I'm so proud of you because people have a choice. Not everybody chooses, and they're caught in their addiction. In my book, I talk about addictions and how to get out of it. We've had a lot of testimonies in the book. In fact, people can get a copy of the book, on Amazon, Beyond Gluten Intolerant, Gluten Inflammatory Syndrome. It's the most complete book on gut issue, but the whole body. And it tells the story. And it has a lot of really delicious recipes too.
Oh, yeah.
And definitions about these different core nutrients. I mean, we live in the 21st century. It's not easy to get all your nutrition, these 91 nutrients the body actually thrives on, in the divine design. I mean, God made the body and the aloe, it's just, it's meant for each other. And I just love you telling your story because it really helps so many.
Oh, yeah. And I mean, obviously, it's called the wand of heaven for a reason. I think it goes hand in hand. Again, people will say God made the potato, but God didn't make the French fry. So let's all kind of go back in time and remember those things. But I really feel like I cheated death. I mean, to see where I am now, I'm approaching 50 years old, the healthiest I've ever been. All of my levels are green. I do have Hashimoto's. I've had that autoimmune condition for 10 years, but my levels are perfect. My TSH, my T3, my T4, because I work on those things every day and I provide the body with what it needs. And I really, really give Aloe Life and you and Aloe Vera itself for giving me, the opportunity and having it be the catalyst to be like, I don't want to be sick anymore. I don't want to be like I was as a kid. I want to have proper nutrition, proper digestion, manage some of these situations that I've gotten myself into because of my own habits. And I think when we talk about prevention, it's imperative to be preventative, especially if you know you have things going on. I think somebody will have like a little bit of an uptick in cholesterol, and the number one thing they want to do is go on a pharmaceutical. You don't always have to do that.
Oh, yeah. The research with aloe has exploded, as I mentioned, and in 12 different categories, including getting the negative cholesterol down, the LDL, and increasing the positive. I mean, my cardiologist can't believe he for years, he finally retired. He said, how do you do it? How do you do it? I say aloe, it's just like, because it helps the liver start actually functioning better. It's all about healthy liver and getting inflammation down, because we find people don't have enough folic acid in their body. It's one of the B vitamins, okay, that we die without. And that helps to reduce the inflammation in the actual blood vessels and arteries so that we don't build the plaque. I mean, once you know, friends, that health helps you so much. We had a guy call the office and say, I just wanted to call and tell you my friend was on so many pharmaceuticals and felt miserable all the time. I got him on the Aloe Life, Aloe Gold, and he, one by one, he didn't need the pharmaceutical drugs anymore. We don't tell people to get off the drugs, but when you don't have the need, you don't need them. And they always come with the negative. They actually steal nutrition to try to metabolize them in the body. So again, he said he lived much longer than the doctors ever, gave the prognosis for, and he was happy. And he passed recently, and I just wanted you all to know, never stop making these products. They're so incredible and helping so many people all around the world. So Kelly, you've been great. You did cheat death. Your MD specifically, you told me, she didn't think you were going to live to be 50 years old, and you're alive and well.
I'm alive and well. I'm a ticking, and I'm doing everything that I can to be there. And, look, if you are on a pharmaceutical, we're not saying don't take aloe, because aloe will just kind of help that along, and especially Aloe Life aloe vera products. But I also like, and we can talk about this, we're going to run out to a break. I want to pick your brain on this UK study, this randomized double-blind placebo-controlled trial of oral aloe vera, because I think people are, again, maybe just hearing for the first time, you can actually ingest it. It's not just for the skin. And I want to talk about that method of action. I want to talk about incorporating in the body, because it's also been very helpful for me to recommend your products for people who have pill fatigue and maybe they can't swallow pills and they have issues. Boy, I give them that aloe, the liquid that's in the refrigerator, whether it be the Aloe Gold, the cherry berry, the orange papaya, or even if they have a little bit more issue when it comes to your stomach formula, which I know you created that for Terry all those years ago. But when we come back, we'll talk a little bit more. But listeners, please go to the website, give a look-see on what they're doing over there at Aloe Life. Wonderful company, brand new website. It's beautiful. Again, that is aloelife.com. Again, we're going to give you a code today, Health20. You get 20% off your order. Great time to be able to even buy that book, Beyond Gluten Intolerance. I've given that as a gift to many, many people over the years. But stick with us. When we come back, we're going to talk more about your health with Karen Masterson-Cook.
Do you have a health plan in place so you can start having a healthier outlook? Many of us are struggling with low immune function, digestive upset, decreased energy, skin issues, and many other challenges. So why not get started on a healthier path today with aloe vera? Aloe vera contains many vitamins and minerals that are vital for proper growth and function of all body systems. There's a big difference in aloe products. Since 1991, Aloe Life has been dedicated to developing only the best quality aloe vera products at the best price. By producing a whole leaf juice concentrate that contains more value from the natural occurring actives and only uses certified organic leaves in all 17 products. Support for digestion, detoxification, immune response, energy, and skin health. Do something good for yourself and visit aloelife.com. That's aloelife.com and use the code HEALTH20 for 20% off your first order. Also available at health food stores nationwide and Amazon. With Aloe Life, being healthy never tasted so good. aloelife.com.
Welcome back, listeners. Again, so grateful you join us each and every week. Karen, I want to ask you about that randomized study that I mentioned before I went to the break. Can you just share a little bit more on that?
Absolutely. There's been, again, as I've mentioned, so an explosion in good studies. And I'm saying good studies because there's some real bad studies out there. There's
Yeah.
people that try to make aloe sound like it's poisonous, toxic, cancer causing. No, I'm sorry. There's not a single active in the plant that actually causes cancer. There was a rat study years ago that gave these rats diarrhea. And so we like to keep it kind of upbeat. We call it Diarrhea Gate. If you want to
Yeah.
read more about it on our website, the whole story's there. But it was
Right.
a hit job on aloe. So again, with 50% of people constipated, they're like, oh, good, I'm getting on that Aloe Life. It's great for children. Wonderful. The cherry berry or orange papaya or even the Detox Plus. I love that flavor. It's herbally delicious with the 10 herbal extracts that help the liver and such. But this study that you referred to, I picked it because it's really easy to understand that, and it was done in the UK, and I've traveled there several times. We have a partner that sells Aloe Life under their own brand. But this is a randomized double-blind, which is always nice, human study, okay, that was done in the UK, 2004. That's okay. Okay.
Yeah.
It's just one more great study that shows when you have gut issues and you take an aloe vera product that's truly aloe. So when I say quality aloe study, it has aloe in it. Okay, because there are some counterfeit. They are totally watered down. If it tastes like water, it's not aloe.
Yeah.
Okay. Aloe Gold tastes kind of like tomato juice with a bite.
Yeah.
And so what it showed, it was actually sponsored by a pharmaceutical company, which you have to just have a little laugh again, that they were very conservative to say that it worked. The results were brilliant, a word that they love using, and I love using that too. It had brilliant results. But it said basically there were 44 people evaluated. They all had ulcerative colitis, and they took what would be equal to 1 ounce of the Aloe Life a day. And friends, this study was so exciting because I wasn't surprised, but it was just wonderful that every one of the human participants in the study had incredible results that took the aloe. The controls who did not receive the aloe, and what a bummer, okay? Hopefully they got a copy of the study so that they knew to start on the aloe. But it was great. They had less loose stool, diarrhea. They had less pain, and they had less blood in the stool, which is all symptoms of ulcerative colitis. And they were feeling better than they had in years. So again, aloe really works. It's just an amazing herbal bitter. As you talked about, a wand of heaven. The ancients called it the miracle plant. And it's because miracles are unexplained, but with the science that's coming out now, we're understanding more and more about all these actives and how they really, truly help each of us and our kids and family and friends to really feel their best. And actually, turn back the aging clock because, it's biological meters that we're actually, that show aging. I mean, you can chronologically be in your 80s and 90s, but biological actually have a body that's 50, 60-year-old. So that's what we're finding in the longevity study as well, is that the markers for longevity, the largest longevity study, showed that you have to control blood sugar and cardiovascular parameters, as you had brought up earlier. And definitely the research does that with aloe. Also, you have to have enough vitamin A and E in the bloodstream. These long lifers, people who are living to be a healthy 100 years old, centenarians, actually had these higher amounts of core nutrients in their blood, including proteins. So again, you get that with aloe because I knew that right away. It was just like drinking a cup of coffee. The first time I had the aloe vera juice concentrate, I looked around at the nurses and doctors in our clinic. We all took it. It's like, okay, cheers. And it's like, do you feel what I feel? And that's why I say, don't take it late. Energy.
You will get that energy. And it's the natural energy, the harnessing of your own body. And I love that. But I want to talk about it because anytime we have a conversation, I know that you've shared with us some of the other aloe that's in the marketplace, but how is Aloe Life really unmatched and truly one of a kind? Where does it really stand out compared to other brands?
Well, when it tests out, there's some really beautiful fingerprint research that can test the aloe's sugars. And there's 5 different natural phytonutrient sugars, like the polysaccharides, many sugars. And so it shows you these spikes in the testing. And the best one is nuclear magnetic resonance that we did on one of the products that we're talking about here that tastes just like water. And what did it show? It showed no spiking of the polysaccharide sugars. Okay, nothing. The malic acid, which aloe is high in, like apples are high in malic acid, and would show this spike if you tested it. Zero solids, which also represent all of the over 100 actives, the nutritionals, the proteins, essential fats, and over 50 trace minerals in the plant itself. So that represents solids. Aloe Life, 4.5 solids. So again, off the chart. And 18 other competitor aloes that you normally see, even in health food stores, all fell into the rest of the middle to no aloe. And the chemist actually weighed in on these testing. They're all done at the same lab in South Carolina. And several of them just said adulterated, doesn't look like aloe, just water. So again, friends, we're not making it up. It's if you're not getting the results that, I'm sharing with you that happen in my family and my patients, then use the number one Aloe Life, because it helps you absorb your foods and your core nutrients you're taking up to 300% better. That's what the bioavailability study showed. And it was with human subjects. And it showed that the vitamin E was absorbed up to 300% greater in the vitamin C, 200% better with B12, functioning more timed release. Instead of losing it because it's a water soluble through the body, it was actually utilized. And we need that for mental health, nervous health, and the whole body to function properly.
And I love that it's for the whole family, whether you have a young child who's dealing with different things going on, but digestive issues, diaper rash, you name it. Ear infections, those great drops, your pets can use it, and even adults. I mean, there's so much versatility from the healthy and slim daily greens that you have, your greens formula, from, even the Aloe Gold tablets. If somebody's in a serious situation, would you advise them to use the Aloe Gold liquid or the Aloe Gold tablets?
I'm glad you brought the tablets up, because the Aloe Gold tablets are sometimes left behind, and they're actually really great, especially if you're over acidic, dealing with reflux or GERD, and a lot of the esophageal burning that we're seeing. Definitely the Aloe Gold tablets are helpful because it has that extra calcium, magnesium when people aren't supplementing, or the liquid concentrate itself. Sometimes even the Stomach Plus, really, because it has these 10 herbal extracts that help the pH in our GI tract, not the blood. Physicians go, what pH? It never changes, but in the GI tract, it has to be balanced, or you're going to have that burning. And so once you start getting the body back to health and the liver working, Detox Plus has milk thistle and Easiac herbs and so many other extracts to get that lazy liver working. Then you make enough bile, which also is not only a fat digestive substance, but it helps to alkalinize the contents. So we have 17 wonderful products. 9 of them are actual topicals, or like you mentioned, the one for our furry friends, Animal Aloe, is terrific as well. Our back to basics skincare is so easy for busy people, even with the aloe mist and the lotion. I know you love the lotion too. There's no water in it. And the tooth gel is coming back out with a flavor, but there's so much infection that can be in the mouth. And it's just one of those great herbs that help from head to toe and inside and out.
All 17 products as well are on the website, which are at aloelife.com, or you can go to Amazon, Sprouts, Natural Grocers, Clark's, Mother's, and all across the country. If you have questions, you can give them a call. That's 1-800-414 Aloe. That's 1-800-414-ALOE. Or you can visit the website, which is aloelife.com. And remember, they were so kind to give us the code HEALTH20. That's HEALTH20. And you can get 20% off when purchasing on aloelife.com. I want to thank you so much for joining me on the program today. Thank you for all you've done for all these decades to not only help the consumer, but to make these great products there at Aloe Life.
Oh, thank you so much. And friends, choose health today. Choose Aloe Life for a healthier life. You will be glad you did, and share it with family and friends. Thank you, Kelly. It's been a wonderful opportunity.
Absolutely, listeners. That does it for our show today. We've put all this great information on our weekly highlight page at foreveryoungradio.com. You can learn more about Karen, link directly to there. But that does it for our show today. Have a happy and healthy week, and we'll catch you next time right here on Forever Young.